Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back. Welcome back to another video. Today we are talking about one of the most difficult things, the most biggest challenges for a solo game developer, at least to me. And that's the question whether you are on the right track or if you have to do some steps back to rethink, to restart your project. Losing progress for better or worse, to waste your time or to save your game. The big question, are you taking one step back just to take 2 steps forward again? Or are you just sliding backwards indefinitely and, get into this hell of restarting projects? I've been there. And the answer is, I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know you. I don't know your project. I know nothing about you and your dreams. So, bye-bye. No, I think I've got something interesting to share, There are certain things you can do to at least minimize the amount of times you have to start over your projects. Let's dive into it. So why are we starting over? If you've been making games for a while, you've probably restarted at least once. And if you're just starting out, just like me, you'll probably do it even more. And that's not really a bad thing. It's all part of the learning process. You should really embrace that. But nobody likes to waste time. So you need to make sure you are starting over for the right reasons instead of just running circles. From what I've seen, and I've definitely been there, it basically comes down to 3 different reasons. First one, you outgrow yourself too fast. You are improving so quickly that the code and the designs you've made a few months ago already feel like garbage. Second one, self-doubt. You start second-guessing yourself. Your ambitions keep swifting, or the scope creep sneaks in, and suddenly restarting feels easier than pushing forward. The third one, the lack of preparation and feedback. We all love jumping straight into development, but if you don't plan and write stuff down, your foundation ends up shaky and eventually cracks. So, let's break it down. Outgrowing your code. Starting over is fine, like I said earlier. In fact, it's somewhat essential. You are not really wasting time. You should see it more as building experience. And experience takes time. That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's a song. This channel is full of references. Shit, I'm dropping. But eventually, you don't want to keep throwing everything away every couple of months. The trick is to learn how to write loosely coupled code, which basically means that all your systems don't depend on each other to function. Things like loading your levels, the logic, the animations, make everything separate, make everything function without each other's dependency. This is called modular design or separation of concerns. You will hear it a lot in object-oriented programming. There are tons of books and also YouTube tutorials about this matter. Just search for loosely coupled code, object-oriented programming, and more specifically for Godot, how to code smart with components. There are tons of great videos about this. So once you start writing loosely coupled code, that's when your project stops feeling like a house of cards. You can finally treat it like your real game, because you can improve pieces along the way without the whole thing collapsing. But remember, don't be too hard on yourself. It really takes time. There's no problem when your first little game or prototype isn't like best practice. It's just something that you have to keep in mind and in your own pace, work slowly towards to. Second one, where I'm totally not familiar with, self-doubt. I'm super secure. This one is tricky because making a game by yourself is tough. At some point you will experience some form of self-doubt. As a solo game developer, you need to learn like 5 or 6 different skills, while most people spend their whole life just mastering 1 or 2. So of course you will feel insecure every now and then, which will make you restart your project, and that's not a big deal at all. The moment it really clicked with me is that I figured out that there are basically 3 voices in my head. Yes, I hear voices in my head. There's something wrong with me, which is basically your heart, which wants to create the perfect game, or your passion project. It's the voice that tells you to, work on your game the moment you wake up, to face the day. It's essentially the fuel of this whole adventure. Without that type of dream and the passion, you are doomed to begin with. The second voice is the brain, the more rational, realistic thinker. It tells you all about the scope creep. It knows where you lack the skill in terms of whatever you are lacking in programming, designing, music, art. It basically is the one that causes the most amount of self-doubt.
Yep, that's me. Toxic Chap. Chap.C's true identity. And let's be real here, Chap. You've only released one crappy demo whenever Flash and the dinosaurs still roamed the world. You're somewhat of a dinosaur yourself, come to think of it.
Can I finish this video? I don't...
Or you stop pretending to be a developer and a inspiring YouTuber. We both know you will never finish this game. You're also pretty old and ugly.
Enough! Jeez. All right, where was I? The heart wants to create the dream game. The brain is the rational thinker, the one that sees all the roadblocks and all the limitations. And there's the third voice, and that's the gut. That's the one you actually want to train because it balances the passion with reality. Training your gut isn't really rocket science, it just takes time and consistency. Keep on working on your game, don't stop. That's really it. But I do think I've got a few tips to help you train this gut feeling and to make sure that you strike this balance as early on as possible. First one is to pick a gameplay idea and also art style that you are really excited about, but is also doable. There's always an art style that fits your skills and also limitations. Look at references and consciously pick one that's realistic and still fun for you. Another one is to make sure that your art style matches your game idea. Research why some games failed when moving to 2D to, for example, 3D. Learn about how camera choices like top-down, isometric, orthographic, side view, perspective completely change the feel of your game. Do some research why certain type of games, whether it is single player or multiplayer, just don't really work with a certain type of camera or setup. For me personally, and I will be making devlogs about it, so make sure to subscribe if you're interested in that, but I had to make some tough choices regarding the camera. My ultimate dream is to have multiplayer in my game, a way to have this beat 'em up experience with a friend on the couch without split screen, and I just feel like my game works better with a more simplified orthographic camera. But I started this project out with a perspective camera, and now I have to restart a bunch of things because of that choice. I could have probably avoided that if I was a bit more knowledgeable about the perspective and orthographic cameras. I basically had no clue. So make sure to do some research on that type of stuff, how cameras and different setups of games work with very specific types of games, single player, multiplayer, and so on. And by the way, a friend of the channel made a video about this problem that I was facing. It goes very in depth, so make sure to watch that video. It's one, and I will also link it in the description of this video. If you can protect your essential passion while also respecting your limits, you will restart way less often. The third reason why we start over is the lack of preparation and feedback. Another super common habit is that developers tend to jump straight into development, and I get it. It's fun, you know, making things come alive. It's super addicting. But don't skip writing things down and sharing it with others. It forces you to think differently, and it's kind of crazy how much clearer your ideas get when you see them on paper. A great way to do this is with a game design document. It doesn't have to be too fancy, just a simple document that explains your game's core ideas, mechanics, and styles. It's basically a blueprint. And there are many videos on YouTube that tell you about this concept of a game design document, so make sure to check those out. Whenever you've got this thing written down, it's also way easier to share it with others and to get feedback. You can do that, for example, on our Discord. Make sure to give it a visit. I will also put the link in the description of this video. It truly makes this whole experience of game development 10 times better. To be able to share your ideas, to get feedback. So, you know, you're also not doing this thing all by yourself. So, to redo, restart, or push forward? That's the question. I think in the end, it's really about experience. The more you make, the better you get at knowing which of the voices to trust.
That's me. You should listen to me.
Shut up. The heart keeps you passionate about your game, and the brain keeps it realistic. And the gut is the one that balances both of them and makes you make the right decisions. Trust your gut. It knows before the brain does. I stole that one. You will need to restart your project exactly as many times as you will need to restart your project. That's just the way it goes. But with the tips of this video, you might be able to minimize, a few restarts. And if you're just starting out, remind yourself that you are still in the experience building phase. It's totally fine not to know all the answers yet. But with some simple habits like writing things down, talking with other developers, and learning about loosely coupled code, for example, you'll avoid a lot of unnecessary restarts and keep moving forward. I'm very curious about whoever watches this video. How many times did you restart? Because of which reasons? Tell me all about in the comment section below. And that's it. Make sure to subscribe and thank you for watching.
Jesus, did your nose even get bigger? Or is it just the angle?
Just ignore it. It's fine. Bye-bye.